Done. Hey, shalom, shalom. Hey, first and foremost, we want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Dun,
Ba'ashem,
dun,
Yahushai,
dun.
Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
We are the brothers here at Great Millstone, Nebraska, coming back with another lesson. I'm the brother you call him off.
And Brother Yatazakba.
And brother Kawashab.
And we coming like we said, coming back with another lesson. Lord willing, this will be edifying. And just wanted to touch on, a form of prophecy, man. And it's coming through this article that we were, talking about, and with this whole Ebola virus and how you have these elites, man. They're planning to roll out another vaccine. A urgent global rollout is what they're calling it. All right. And as we were kind of just talking about it, how this could be a segue. Just like the rest of these diseases that Esau Edom brings forth, with the CVID, with even with the Hannah Montana, which that's kind of hanging in the balance right now, but coming out with different cures for them, but testing them out on the people. Now as far as the Ebola, there's no cases over here recorded at least, but it's still it's very much indicative of Esau Edom's character, and we just want to get into that a little bit. We're not going to go too deep into what Ebola is. All right, we may get some edification on it, but we just want to really get into Esau's tactics, man, for the most part. How it lines up with prophecy. So, Lord willing, this will be edifying. We can start off with the article, unless brothers have any opening statements or precepts that they want to bring up.
All
La.
right.
Yep. So without further ado, we can get into it.
So this is an article from wait, no. Salakia. I had the wrong one pulled up. All right. This is from the People's Voice.tv. Says Bill Gates CEPI vows to rush experimental Ebola vaccine in just 100 days for urgent global rollout. All
Yep.
right, it says, oh, go ahead, bro.
No, yeah. So showing like this always a um urgency according to Esau, and it's a quote unquote urgency, and these are certain words that Esau uses to, number one, make the people think that he cares really about the well being of others. Oh shit, we gotta hurry up and do something about this. People are dying. People are getting sick. They do the same with every disease. It's the same rinse, wash, and repeat with Esau. But you go ahead. That's it.
And that CEPI stands for the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations. And when you go to their website, like their mission statement, or like the first thing you see, it says preparing for future pandemics.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
um,
and there's a video that the brother. We don't have to harp on it too much, but that the brother Kawashab brought out. With the same guy specifically, Gil Bates is going into the next. We said the next pandemic will get your attention. So along those lines. So
yeah,
they know what they're doing, man. We're watching them. We know that Esau Edom's already has these things planned, but the water for that info too, brother.
yeah. If I could just a little bit more on that CEPI, it says that they're a global partnership working to accelerate the development of vaccines and other biologic countermeasures against epidemic and pandemic threats. So that's it to that though.
Uh,
So getting back to the article, it says an experimental vaccine targeting the deadly strain of Ebola now surging through Central Africa could be developed in just 100 days in preparation for a global rollout, according to CEPI, an organization founded and funded by Bill Gates.
mm,
So it says CEPI funds the development of new vaccines and is looking at potential candidates for the Bundy Bungio strain, for which there is no current known vaccine.
you're right. So there's no current known vaccine, but what we kind of did. I want to get into this real quick, and we can hold Sirach 12 and verse 16 of Rashah. Because we know we were just breaking bread about it, and one of the questions that I asked Google was, has Ebola experimented on Africans, or experiment on Africans, right? This specific disease. And it says, yes, experimental treatments and vaccines have been tested on human populations in Africa during active outbreaks, right? Which, as of now, um, which the article kind of touches on it too, but over in the was it the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda are two of the main places right now that's suffering from this outbreak, right? And this is where Esau rolls, is planning to roll out of a cure, a vaccine for it. Okay, now Esau, brother made a good point. Esau's been doing this for a while, man. Testing out this particular disease over there in the Africas, you know, um, as recorded since 2014. On and off 2014 to 2016, 2018 to 2020, and now right back here in 2026. So he's been over there for a while, and we don't know what he's been doing in between, but it can't be nothing different. It's just this is just what's recorded. But this is Esau's way of making it seem like he's like you care, bro. Like, oh, we got to find a way to cure this. But you've been over there injecting these people with this disease, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Con. And if I may, brother, I want to bring out this thing that came to mind when you were going into how they really want to create this urgency. I just typed in high pressure sales. It says high pressure sales are aggressive or manipulative techniques used by salespeople to force an immediate purchase, typically by creating false urgency, leveraging scarcity, or inducing fear of missing out.
Yeah, yeah. You can speak on it, brother. Yeah, that's
Yeah. I used to work in jobs like this where, basically they'll tell you like, hey, don't take no for an answer. You got to make it seem like the product is limited and you got to get it now. And that's pretty much like what this screams right here. We got 100 days. There's no cure. It sounds like they're trying to sell me something.
right, right. You know. Oh, what it was the latter part of that passage you read, as far as something about with the fear.
Oh yeah, it says
You're right.
um typically by creating false urgency, leveraging scarcity, or inducing fear of missing out.
Okay, inducing fear of missing out. Okay, so not literally fear, but being left out.
Mhm.
Oh shit! If I don't, it's the same with the CBID, man. It's like if you didn't have that, people looked at you funny. If you didn't have that vaccine, people looked at you funny, or they didn't want to be around you, act like you're the problem.
Mhm.
So how much more with these different diseases, right? But
Mhm.
yeah. But that's it's an easy sell. It's a fire. It's pretty much like a fire sale, fire sale
Yeah,
on on cures. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, and if I could bring something out as well, this word fear mongering, because that's something that Esau does. He does it very well, and with these last couple pandemics, these pestilences that's popping up, Esau does a lot of fear mongering where that's all you'll see on your news feed. You know what I'm saying? That's all you'll be hearing about on social media. So that it's at the top of your mind. And it says that fear mongering is the strategic use of exaggeration, misinformation, or sensationalized language to intentionally provoke public panic or anxiety, usually deployed for personal, political, or financial gain. It manipulates people into making impulsive decisions based on fear rather than rational judgment.
Mm.
So again, going back to the C-19, it made people act irrationally to where people who were thinking rationally, people who were using their thinking caps and being like, man, they came with this vaccine fast. I don't know about this. I don't know if I want to get that. They seemed like they were tripping because people were moving in a mindset of fear, you know?
Yeah. And they were we know. at time, man, that Esau was falsifying the number of deaths and things like that too. That was actually due through COVID because everything was COVID related. You know what I'm saying? Even if you die from something that has nothing to do with that disease, they've somehow found a way to tie it back to that disease. So it's like, of course, that like you said with the fear mongering, that's definitely going to accelerate that spirit of fear. It's like, damn, man, I could catch you doing anything now. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So now I gotta get these shots. I gotta get my boosters. I got
Mm.
you felt like you were the problem if you didn't. You know. But yeah, that's a damn good point, brother. That's a damn good point because that's exactly how Esau moves.
Mm.
You know. But let's the brother got that Ciroc.
Con, I got that for you. This is Sirach 12 and 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
Yeah. So he speaks sweetly. Now in this case, what is it? What is Esau Edom speaking sweetly with his lips? Is this the vaccines? Like the image of wanting to help, right? But what does it say? It's speaking sweetly with his lip, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. So bring me though. Essentially, when you get these vaccines, you're thrown into a trap, right? Because a lot of people that got like always revert back to the C-19, man, because that was very paramount, and there's nothing
Yeah,
Esau has not changed. Is that a lot of people lost their lives behind getting that, right? More people died. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe more people died from the vaccines rather than the disease itself.
Con,
That's Esau throwing you into that pit. And though it says, he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Essentially, he makes humanity his experiment on with his different devices. You know, C-19, that was a very big experiment here in the states. The Ebola is different over there in the Africas. The hantavirus we still don't know, but we know that Esau ain't nothing new with him. Hey, we was talking about he's running the same play, just doing it in a different
yeah.
way. He's finding different angles, but it's like, nigga, we see what you're doing, bro. You know, but yeah, that's it though.
Con, I got a precept for you. 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
All right, and we know what that devices is, but can we get into that real quick? It's
Con,
ignorant because to be ignorant means to not know. Not how they use it amongst Jake. You ignorant. It's ignorant means just to not know something. Okay.
Uh,
the word devices or ignorant.
Devices. So like devices, brother.
Device G3540 Neoma. It means a mental perception, thought, and evil purpose, that which thinks the mind, thoughts, or purposes. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It says, read that again. Yeah, that's good.
a mental perception, thought, and evil purpose.
Yeah. What he the what these elites do, they sit behind closed doors and they come up with different plans on how to, in a way, take over the world, like Pinky and the Brain. But like I would say, like one good example of their devices is what when you had the Georgia Guidestones. Where they want to maintain humanity under was it 500 million, and then once these pandemics start hitting, what they tore that shit down. That's part of his devices because he figured out, oh, this is a way I could start doing it. And we
Mhm.
those who were cognitive were watching and took heed to it. And it's not necessarily just the prophets because you got your every average, you got to have certain individuals out there in the world that are cognitive to Esau's ways too. You got your whistleblowers, you got certain external sources outside of outside of the prophets that look and they put this stuff on TikTok. Look what they're doing. Look, They took down the Georgia Guidestones, blah, blah, blah. This is part of his devices. You're planning a to have a controlled society, easier to control society based off of chopping the society down, population wise. This is part of your devices, okay? So and that's just the first thing that comes to mind. But Esau has many devices, and we're not ignorant to him, man. We're seeing what you're doing, right? We're seeing how you're controlling the people with these like the brother brought out the fear mongering. We're watching you, man.
Hmm.
No,
Yeah.
Gone. And if I may, also want to mention like, uh, damn, I lost my train of thought. Never mind, brother. Go ahead.
yeah, that was that's pretty much it. If brothers don't have any more presets, we can jump back into the article.
Okay, kind. So getting back into the article, it says Jane Halton, CEPI's board chair, revealed the Gates-funded organization is working at faster than warp speed to develop an experimental vaccine for an urgent global rollout. I can
Mm.
guarantee you that we will be in a position to respond faster than we would have been 5 years ago, Halton told journalists in Geneva, Switzerland. Will we achieve it in 100 days? Possibly. It's a big lift. We are now into the many hundreds of cases and hundreds of deaths. But the truth of the matter is that the real numbers are much bigger than that.
Fear mongering.
Right. They got no basis to say that. It is like that's all we got on paper. A lot more people than died than that. Like how who's to say that's true? Like
Right.
you said, brother, that's that fear mongering. Says the WHO declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern over the weekend. The outbreak has resulted in 160 suspected deaths out of 670 suspected cases, of which 61 have been confirmed, according to the Democratic Republic of Congo Health Ministry data published on Thursday.
Yeah, it's like it's no new thing with Esau, man. It's no new thing. You've been doing this, man. You've been experimenting with this disease, and hey, and you made a good point, brother, where you mentioned this all, and it always seems to start from some type of animal.
Mhm.
Is it a bat or a rat or whatever? It's always it's like, bro, hey, and that's why they have a term called lab rats. you know, lab rats. 'Cause you pretty much you test them out, insert them with different diseases and different infections, so to speak, and you see how they react, and you test it out on humans. And a perfect example of that, if brothers are familiar with it, there's a TV show that the elder actually put me on to, which is called was it Fallout, right? Now I don't know if brothers are familiar with it, but there was an episode where you had one of the one of the guys on there. It's like a doomsday type of dude where they had the underground bunker and they had that certified sealed off for years to where they were able to survive a nuclear catastrophe, right? So what he would do to test out, he had a certain device, and I forget what the device was used for, but he would test it out on rats, and he would like stick it into the back of their neck, and then he would, I think it was like he was using radiation to see how much that they can handle, or to see, just to test the levels out. And he was just killing a bunch of fucking rats. He killed over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rats until he was trying to get it right. So
Mm.
I know I always correlate that with how Esau does with diseases. You're testing it out to see, for number one, how people will respond to this. How does your body respond to this? What can we do to so-called cure it? How do we scientifically figure out a way to fix the situation? And it's all through testing. Everything is through testing. That's the point that I'm getting to. Everything is through testing with Esau, right?
Yeah.
But here did you have all these people that are dying in suspected cases, bro. You're doing it on purpose. You've been doing it on purpose,
Mhm.
right? So that's why we're not moved by these different plagues that Esau is bringing, because we trust that Yahweh Shami Shai has us for number one, but for number two, we see that this dude ain't he's up to no good at all times, man.
Yeah, precept.
Go ahead, brother.
There's Isaiah chapter 47, verse 12, which says, Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so
Mhm.
be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
says, is
yeah, go ahead.
no, you go ahead, speak your point, brother.
No, go ahead, bro. Baba
Yeah,
Shah.
it says that it's so thou mayest prevail, right? Because once again, going back to your devices, we're not ignorant to him. But Esau Edom, he believes that he's going to prosper with through these his different sorceries. He believes he's going to. And what's one of his sorceries? Uh, the news outlets, right? The way that how you constantly pumping out a certain narrative, that's a form of sorcery. Okay. Once again, got to use that fear mongering because that's definitely good, right? Because that's they do that, they utilize that through the news transcripts, man, where they constantly push. Oh, this is people are dying. Oh, this is going on over here. This is going on over there. And it's like certain things that happen. You constantly see breaking news on your phone. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's because Esau is getting. He's trying to get your attention and have you to, looking at one specific thing. I want you to focus on this right now. This is what's going on. Fuck all the other stuff. This is what's going on. This is what we deem important, right? But you can speak your point. It's also really more of an enchantment, I would say, Salaki. Not this is more of an enchantment than a sorcery. So I want to correct that. But yeah, you can say what you want to say, brother Salaki.
Well, hey, you broke it down. And to add on to it, it's like you said, Esau runs tests, but it gets to a point to like he's running tests on society. It's just like how a person would do a social experiment. Well, Esau has the power to do a mass social experiment that where people dying is involved. You know what I'm saying? And Esau has the power that he can have everybody to where he's running tests on us. And what are those tests for? To see how people are going to react, to see what people are going to accept, who's going to do what, because Esau's paying attention. Okay, who's going to buckle if we push this fear mongering? Who's not going to take these jabs and these different solutions we give? And Esau wants to know, he's crunching the numbers. He's saying how what he can do different next time, and it's all leading up to the MOTB ultimately, But this is all data for him. This is all, you know, is all a trial. Lord willing, that makes sense. What I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, Kawashab, Kawashab, bring that precept out that you were talking about in Micah. That's perfect for that, because he is. Hey, well, we'll just get to the precept. I'm not even going to spoil it. The brother can bring it out, you know.
This is Micah 2 and verse 1. It says, Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the
Mhm.
morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
Yeah, it's in the power of their hands. Like you said, that's a beautiful way to put it. It's definitely a uh, a big ass social experiment that Esau's trying out. I like that term. That's exactly what he's doing because why? He has the power, he has the resources, he has the money. It says the earth was the power. What was it? Job 9:24. It says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So they have free reign to do what the fuck they want to do. Okay, and then I'd say that according to Second Thessalonians, where it says only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So he has free reign to come up with ways to administer diseases and let's see what happens. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? At least let's see what happens, spirit. You know?
And this is what this devil does with the rulership that was given unto him,
Yeah.
showing you how unwise these rulers are, man. We were talking about them yesterday. These Edomites, they like to go into caves and then they go and get stuck in there. It's like these are the greatest people on the planet Earth, bro.
Yeah, them cave divers.
Is this your king?
Yeah, I forget. I forget the term, but yeah, it's like, bro, it's like how unwise can you be? And then doing this with all the population, like, don't you know that those illnesses are gonna come back to you? Like, and the same thing with the way they poison the air and the food. It's like, how unwise can you be? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it ain't making it no better with these data centers that they're putting up. I seen a
Mhm.
video recently, and we can move on after this, but that's a good point because I seen it was this lady. I don't know if she's a senator or a mayor or whatever that in Georgia, but they're putting AI data centers up there, and she had like a mason jar showing what the drinking water was like in Georgia.
Hmm.
And bro, it if you ever had that what's that shit you gave me, brother? That rise coffee. That's exactly what the water looked like. It was a muddy brown,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
and it's because those data centers they're using up the clean water. They're using up fucking they're using up all the source of water to power these goddamn centers, and meanwhile the people around it are suffering. Right, and it's not just in Georgia. That's just the most recent thing that I've seen because they're doing it in Texas, in Utah, certain other places too, where the drinking water is either shit or you have no pressure.
Hmm.
So he's man, we're seeing this man work evil work right now, man, on all fucking levels. He's working an evil work right now because why? It's in the power of his hands to do as he will with this world right now. You know,
Can I
but
bring out this pizza Baba Kasha?
for sure.
This is Sirach 10 and 3, or verse 4, starting at verse 3. It says, An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them that are in authority, the city shall be inhabited.
You speak on it, brother.
Khan, yeah, just going into how, this unwise King Esau, he's destroying the people with all his little experiments. These data centers is a great example of that, and we were just talking about it the other day. They're building a 67 square mile. That's like a whole city of data center.
Yeah.
And it's just polluting everything, man. These jump shot experiments, you know, So, but eventually the Lord is going to take this man out of the way. And that's where verse 4 come in. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set up over it one that is profitable. This Edomite is not profitable to life. All he's doing is destroying everything that the Lord created. And he just got to be stopped, man. He's a madman.
Well,
Yeah.
just real quick, I'm gonna bring something out to back you up, brother. Yeah, I get this wrong. Yep. This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 18. It says, And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. You know,
God.
yeah, yeah, just to back you up, because like you said, he is going to be taken out of the way. He like the Elder Yashuramba at the Great Millstone Dallas camp, has always said, very popular term is that the earth needs new management. Because look at what Esau Edom is doing with, like you said, look what he's doing with the time that's been given to him,
Mhm.
Hmm.
you know, and you ain't doing nothing but destroy. You came out for the kill, steal, kill, and destroy. And that's all you've been doing, and you're increasing in it. And you're fucking up humanity, bro.
Mhm.
Right? You're fucking up he's fucking up anything you think of. He's fucking it up, bro. Agriculturally, the world is in turmoil because of him.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You know, people are fucking. It shouldn't be nobody starving. The Lord made this earth abundant, bro. Right? But now when you got, yeah, he's gonna be taken out of the way. He has to be taken out of the way. There's no way that what Alizé said 1,000 years, bro. Ain't no fucking way.
Mhm.
No, ain't no way, bro. Hell no.
God.
Babylon's lucky to see the next 5 years. You know, based off all the prophecies that are popping, Babylon's lucky to see the next 5 years, let alone a fucking thousand. Esau, Edom is destroyed. Like Matthew 24 says, there shall no flesh be saved, but the days are shortened for the elect's sake. Right? Yeah, that's it. Um, yeah, it was I think it was a little bit more to that article I wanted to get, and that'll pretty much be it for that. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
into that.
says two Ebola cases have also been confirmed in neighboring Uganda, and now the disease is spreading to rebel-held areas of the DRC. Says its recent reappearance in Africa follows previous health events involving viruses and calls for vaccines across the continent, similar to
Previous
events.
health events. That's what they call them. Previous health events. But we read that they've been experimenting over in the Africas already.
Mhm.
You got to watch it, Esau. Previous
Mm,
health events involving viruses and calls for vaccines. Come on, man, really? You go ahead.
it says its recent reappearance in Africa follows previous health events involving viruses and calls for vaccines across the continent, similar to events in 2024 when the Ebola-like and highly contagious Marburg virus appeared in Rwanda and left havoc in its wake. Ebola was first discovered in 1976 in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo and is thought to have spread from bats. It is a rare, highly contagious, and often fatal disease, generally transmitted via bodily fluids. Symptoms include a high temperature, extreme tiredness, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle pain, and bleeding.
Yeah, and
And that's
it's an extremely dangerous virus, bro. Because
yeah,
it
you don't want to get that.
attacks the major organs and causes eternal bleeding. You know that it's a very dangerous virus, and like studies have shown, which 50% mortality rate, bro. That's not 50% or higher fatality rate. It's not good, bro.
Mm,
You know, so we just once again just wanted to really bring this out to put a scope on Esau's devices and how to, like, bro, we know what you're doing, man. Right? We're not falling for your schemes, and we're gonna continue to be on the watchtower, like it says in Isaiah 62 verse 6. You know, because Esau and we have to. It's very important. We have to also continue to push these prophecies out. It says, "Where no vision is, the people perish." So if we don't speak on these things that Esau Edom is doing, how will the Lord's people know? How will people know in general, but especially the elect, if it's not being reported on, right? But yeah, just keep an eye on Esau, man, because he's a sly devil. He's more cunning than any creature of the field.
okay.
But if y'all brothers had any closing statements, precepts,
Nah,
Hey, with that being said, Lord's will, this was edifying. And be the Lord's will, we'll come back again with another lesson. Until then, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Hashem.
Hashem,
Yahweh.
Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Lakakadash.
Double honor to the elders, apostles, and the bishops at Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect Akim out there doing this work. Hey, shalom.
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 You got to stop it on your end.